4 types of women older men must avoid for a safe, happy love life and peace. Dating after 70 can be a real adventure, but there are important things to consider. If you're over 70 and searching for companionship, you must be careful because, honestly, one wrong choice can cost you more than just heartbreak. At this stage of life, peace of mind, financial security and emotional well-being are absolutely priceless. Yet too many older men unknowingly invite trouble by ignoring the early red flags in a partner. The truth is, the stakes are higher now than ever before. A relationship built on the wrong foundation can drain your health, leave you vulnerable, and even rob you of the happiness you deserve in your later years. In this video, you're going to discover the 4 types of women older men should steer clear of if they want a safe and happy love life. I'll walk you through the red flags that often go unnoticed, explain why these warning signs matter, and show how avoiding the wrong partner can protect your peace, health, and even your future security. Most importantly, you'll see how choosing wisely can bring real joy, companionship, and lasting harmony into your golden years. And here's the part you won't want to miss. The 4th type of woman often looks harmless at first, but she can cause the most damage, and almost no one sees it coming. So stick around until the very end for that eye-opening insight. If you're serious about protecting your heart and building the kind of relationship you truly deserve, this video will give you the clarity you need. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more advice designed to keep life after 60 fulfilling, secure, and inspiring. Let's talk about the first type of woman older men must avoid, the gold chaser. This is the woman whose primary motivation isn't love, companionship, or building a life together, but rather the financial security she thinks you can provide. She isn't interested in who you are as a person, your values, your stories, or the wisdom you've gained through life. Instead, her eyes are fixed on what's in your wallet, what's in your bank account, and what kind of lifestyle she can extract from being with you. For many older men, this trap can feel almost invisible at first, because the gold chaser often comes across as very attentive, flattering, and even nurturing. She may shower you with praise, telling you how safe and stable she feels with you, but underneath that surface charm lies a constant evaluation of your financial worth. Instead of asking about your dreams or your favorite memories, she'll steer conversations toward your investments, the property you own, or the pension you've worked hard for. Now let me give you a relatable example. Imagine a man in his early 70s who had been widowed for a few years. After working hard all his life, he finally decided to put himself back out there and find companionship again. He met a woman who seemed genuinely interested in him. She laughed at his jokes, complimented his cooking, and even showed up at family gatherings with enthusiasm. But as time went on, little things started to stand out. She always wanted to dine at expensive restaurants, never offered to contribute, and became distant whenever he tried to suggest simpler activities like walking in the park or having a quiet night in. When he hinted at budgeting or mentioned financial concerns, her warmth cooled and she'd shift the subject or even grow frustrated. Eventually, it became painfully clear. He wasn't seen as a partner, but as an ATM machine. The companionship he thought he had found was built on shallow motives, and when the reality hit, the sense of betrayal was deeper than just financial loss. It shook his confidence, damaged his trust in others, and made him feel foolish for believing her words. That's the emotional cost of getting involved with a gold chaser. It's not just about money. It's about the erosion of trust, the loss of dignity, and, well, that feeling of being reduced to nothing more than a source of income. At this stage of life, when peace and emotional security matter most, the last thing you need is a relationship that drains both your finances and your spirit. So, how can you spot this type early? Look for patterns in behavior. Is she genuinely interested in your stories, your hobbies, and your daily routines? Or does every conversation somehow circle back to what you own, where you spend, and what kind of future she can secure financially by being with you? Pay attention to her attitude toward money. Does she talk about relationships in terms of shared happiness or in terms of what she expects to receive? Another red flag is when someone tries to rush intimacy or commitment before you've had time to truly know each other. A goal chaser often pushes for quick progress, whether it's moving in together, gaining access to your resources, or talking about joint financial matters far too soon. Genuine love takes time to grow, but exploitation is often hurried. So, the bottom line is this. If a woman sees your financial stability as her ticket to an easy life, you'll feel it eventually in the imbalance of the relationship. You'll end up giving more, she'll take more, and, well, over time, you'll notice that your happiness and security are fading while hers is increasing at your expense. And here's where I want to engage you directly. Have you or someone you know ever felt used in a relationship, whether financially or emotionally? Go ahead and share your experience in the comments. Your story might just help another man avoid the same painful mistake. The truth is, when you're dating after 70, it's natural to want to share the fruits of your labor with someone. Generosity is a beautiful quality, really, but it's only valuable when it's reciprocated with genuine care, respect, and emotional investment. Giving freely to someone who truly loves you creates joy and strengthens bonds. But giving to someone whose heart isn't in the right place will only leave you drained and disheartened. Avoiding the goal chaser means protecting not only your bank account but also your peace of mind. It means valuing yourself enough to demand more than surface-level affection. Real love at this stage should be about comfort, laughter, support, and deep companionship, not transactions. So, as you reflect on this, remember, a meaningful relationship adds to your life. It doesn't subtract from it. If you find yourself with someone who makes you feel more like a provider than a partner, take it as the warning sign it truly is. You've worked too hard for too long to spend your later years with someone who values your money more than your heart. Now that you understand the dangers of the goal chaser, let's move on to the next type of woman. One who doesn't take your money but instead chips away at something far more personal, your confidence and peace of mind. This is the woman known as the Constant Critic, and her impact on your life can be just as damaging, if not worse. Now, the second type of woman that older men really must avoid is the constant critic. Unlike the gold chaser, she may not be after your money, but honestly, what she takes from you is just as valuable. Your sense of peace, your self-esteem, and, well, your joy in everyday living. This type of woman has a sharp eye for flaws and, I must say, an even sharper tongue to go with it. Nothing is ever quite right in her eyes, and over time her constant negativity begins to eat away at your confidence and happiness. Picture this for a moment. You decide to make yourself a simple breakfast, maybe eggs and toast. To you, it's just a morning routine, a small comfort in your day. But to the constant critic, it's a reason to complain. She might say, "Why are you eating that? Don't you know it's bad for you?" Or perhaps you enjoy watching an old Western movie in the evening, a bit of nostalgia from your younger years. Instead of joining you or respecting your choice, she scoffs, "Why do you watch that boring stuff?" These comments may seem small, even harmless at first, but when they're constant, they really do begin to erode your spirit. You know, what makes the constant critic so damaging is not just one harsh comment, but the accumulation of daily disapproval. It's that constant drip of negativity that turns something as simple as a meal, a hobby, or a harmless habit into a source of tension. Instead of feeling free to enjoy the little things that make life satisfying, you start second-guessing yourself. Over time, many men begin to withdraw, silence their preferences, or even stop doing what they love just to avoid another round of criticism. And here's the truth. At this stage in life, you don't need to be managed, corrected, or torn down. You've already lived through decades of responsibilities, career demands, and perhaps even raising children. You've proven yourself, you've endured challenges, and you've gained wisdom that only comes with age. What you deserve now is encouragement, companionship, and the freedom to be yourself without walking on eggshells. Emotional exhaustion is one of the greatest dangers of being with a constant critic. It's not only draining, it can affect your health. Stress from constant negativity raises blood pressure, impacts sleep, and even accelerates aging. Many older men underestimate this until they realize their energy, once directed toward joy and vitality, is being consumed by the effort to keep the peace. And sadly, peace is the very thing that slips away in this type of relationship. One of the hardest realizations for men in their 60s, 70s and beyond is that criticism rarely changes behavior. It only builds resentment. If you're with a partner who can't stop pointing out what's wrong with you, you'll never feel truly accepted. A good partner should make you feel lighter, not weighed down. She should amplify your strengths, not magnify your weaknesses. Here's the key red flag. If you notice that almost every interaction leaves you feeling smaller, less capable, or less joyful, you may be dealing with a constant critic. Healthy relationships should leave you energized, not drained. Think about it. After spending time together, do you feel uplifted or diminished? If the answer is the latter, it's a warning sign you can't afford to ignore. At this stage of life, you don't have the time or energy to spend years battling unnecessary negativity. Life after 70 should be about laughter, shared memories, and the freedom to live authentically. Surrounding yourself with a partner who nurtures, not criticizes, is essential to protecting your emotional well-being. And here's something important to remember. Accepting constant criticism doesn't just affect you, it can spill into your relationships with family, friends, and even your health. The frustration of being judged every day can make you withdraw not only from your partner but also from the world around you. That isolation can lead to loneliness, and loneliness is one of the greatest threats to seniors' health and happiness. So let this be, a gentle reminder. You have earned the right to peace. You have earned the right to enjoy the things you love without judgment. And you have earned the right to companionship that lifts you up rather than tears you down. Now, while the constant critic is exhausting and damaging, the next type of woman is even more dangerous in a different way. She doesn't criticize, and in fact you might think she's perfect at first. She says the right things, shows the right behaviors, and seems to be everything you've been looking for. But beneath that flawless surface lies a hidden agenda. The third type of woman older men must avoid is the pretender. On the surface, she looks like the answer to every prayer. She's charming, attentive, and quick to agree with your opinions. She laughs at your jokes, shows interest in your hobbies, and even seems to share your values. If you love gospel music, suddenly she does too. If you enjoy gardening, she talks about how she's always wanted to start one. If faith is central to your life, she appears at church with you, singing the hymns and shaking hands as if she's been there all her life. It feels almost magical, as though you finally found someone who truly understands you. But here's the danger. The pretender is not genuine. Her charm is a mask, carefully worn to get closer to you, to gain your trust and eventually to gain control. Unlike the constant critic who shows her hand right away with negativity, the pretender plays the long game. She studies you, mirrors your likes and dislikes, and creates the illusion of being your perfect partner. Let's imagine a realistic scenario. An older man in his 70s who values faith and family meets a woman who seems to check every box. She praises his devotion, asks about his favorite scriptures, and even starts quoting them back to him. He feels seen and understood, and after years of loneliness, it's a powerful feeling. But slowly, little cracks begin to show. Once she feels secure in the relationship, her attitude shifts. She becomes more controlling, criticizing who he spends time with, questioning how he manages his schedule, or subtly pushing him to cut ties with old friends. What once felt like support begins to feel like surveillance. The emotional toll of this deception is immense. Betrayal is always painful, but it cuts even deeper when it comes from someone who pretended to be everything you wanted. It's not just the disappointment of a relationship ending. It's the sting of realizing you were misled, that your openness and vulnerability were taken advantage of. For men at this stage of life, who may already be cautious about love, this kind of manipulation can leave scars that make it harder to trust again. So, how do you spot a pretender before it's too late? Well, one key sign is when someone agrees with you on absolutely everything, especially early on. Real people, you see, have their own opinions, their own tastes, and their own experiences. If she seems to have no individuality and instead just echoes back everything you say, it's definitely worth paying attention. Another warning sign is inconsistency. Over time, you might notice her words don't quite match her actions. She may talk about being supportive, but then grow controlling when you make independent choices. Another clue really is how she handles situations that don't benefit her. Does her kindness continue when there's nothing at all for her to gain? Or does her interest fade the moment the attention isn't on her? A genuine partner will show consistency through both the highs and the lows, not just when it's convenient. At this stage of life, authenticity matters more than ever. You simply don't have the time or energy to waste on someone who's playing a role. You deserve someone who truly shares your values, not someone who just mimics them to gain influence. Protecting yourself from the pretender means taking relationships slowly, watching for patterns, and being willing to walk away if things just don't add up. And here's where I want to bring you in. Have you ever met someone who seemed too good to be true? How did you spot the signs? Share your experience in the comments. Your insight could save another man from falling into the same trap. The truth is, companionship in later years should be about trust, stability, and genuine care. When a partner pretends to be someone they're not, it robs you of that peace. Don't ignore the red flags just because the early days feel exciting or comfortable. Remember, real love doesn't need to pretend. It simply shows up consistently over time. Now, if the pretender is dangerous because of her hidden motives, the next type of woman brings another kind of storm. She doesn't wear a mask or hide her true nature. In fact, she often thrives in chaos, and if you're not careful, her constant turmoil will spill over into your own life. That's why the fourth type, the drama magnet, can be the most exhausting of all. The fourth type of woman older men must avoid is the drama magnet. While the gold chaser targets your finances, the constant critic chips at your confidence, and the pretender deceives your trust, the drama magnet will drain your peace of mind. What sets her apart is her need for chaos. With her, calm never lasts long. If life is quiet, she finds a reason to stir conflict, whether it's with family, neighbors, friends, or even strangers. Imagine this. You wake up looking forward to a slow, peaceful morning, reading the paper, enjoying your coffee, maybe listening to some soft music. But before you can even take a sip, the phone rings. It's another crisis call. Maybe she's furious with her sister, fighting with her grown children, or complaining about how the neighbor parked too close to her driveway. Suddenly you're pulled into the whirlwind of her stress, forced to pick sides or act as a referee. What should have been a relaxing day turns into an exhausting emotional roller coaster. That's the reality of life with a drama magnet. Constant tension, constant arguing, and constant disruptions. The issue is rarely about what's happening in the moment. The deeper problem is that she thrives on conflict. For her, drama is a way of feeling important, noticed, or in control. And while she may insist that she just can't help it, the impact on you is very real. Here's what many men don't realize. Ongoing stress isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous, especially after 70. Studies show that chronic stress raises blood pressure, weakens the immune system, and increases the risk of heart problems. For older men, the toll of living with constant turmoil can literally shorten life expectancy. At this stage, your health depends on protecting your mental and emotional well-being just as much as your physical body. And being with someone who thrives on drama does the exact opposite. The emotional exhaustion is just as damaging. Instead of looking forward to companionship, you start to dread what new conflict tomorrow might bring. Your home, which should be your sanctuary, becomes a battleground. And gradually, your sense of peace and happiness begins to slip away. The golden years are meant to be spent savoring life, not fighting unnecessary battles. So, how can you recognize the drama magnet before she pulls you in? Pay attention to how she handles everyday problems. Does she escalate minor issues into major conflicts? Does she often retell stories of being wronged, with little responsibility for her role in the situation? Is her life filled with constant battles, with her family, co-workers or friends? And somehow, she's always the victim. If drama follows her everywhere, it won't be long before it follows you too. And here's something important. Excitement and drama are not the same. Some men mistake constant intensity for passion, especially if they've been lonely. But true passion brings joy, closeness, and fulfillment. Drama only brings exhaustion and stress. The difference is night and day. At this point in life, peace is priceless. You've earned the right to mornings without conflict, evenings filled with laughter, and days spent in calm companionship. Surrounding yourself with someone who constantly invites chaos into your world isn't worth the price you'll pay in energy, health, and emotional well-being. Now, here's the good news. Once you learn to recognize and avoid women like the goal chaser, the constant critic, the pretender, and the drama magnet, you free yourself to build the kind of relationship that truly brings joy and stability. And that brings us to the most important part: how avoiding these types can actually transform your love life after 70. Because, once you remove the wrong influences, the right kind of love becomes easier to find and, well, far more rewarding. Now here's the good news. Avoiding the wrong types of women doesn't mean closing the door on love. It means opening the door to the right kind of companionship. When an older man chooses wisely, he creates space for peace, joy, and a relationship that feels light rather than heavy. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that the person by your side respects your boundaries, brings warmth instead of conflict, and genuinely cares for your well-being. At this stage in life, love should feel like a source of comfort, not another battle to fight. The truth is, healthy relationships after 70 aren't built on drama or pretense. They're built on laughter, shared memories, and, the freedom to enjoy life without unnecessary stress. A caring partner becomes more than just company. She becomes a source of emotional stability, someone who adds calmness to your days and strength to your heart. And here's the most important part. You deserve this. Every man who has worked hard, carried responsibilities, and weathered the storms of life has earned the right to spend his golden years in peace. You deserve a relationship where you feel safe, valued, and appreciated, not one that drains your spirit. So remember, the goal isn't just avoiding the wrong women. It's creating space for the right woman to walk into your life. A woman who encourages your health, celebrates your victories, and cherishes the man you are today. That's the kind of love that makes these years not just comfortable, but truly meaningful. If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another gentleman who needs to hear this today. It could spare him unnecessary stress, protect his heart, and even change the course of his love life for the better.